You ever find yourself at a party or scrolling through a busy street and notice someone who seems to float along the edges? They're not taking selfies, not shouting over the music, not elbowing their way into conversations. They're just watching, observing. Maybe they're leaning against a wall, twirling a drink, or staring out a window as if the whole world is a play and they've been handed the perfect seat. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone you know. And here's the thing. There's actually a psychology behind why some people prefer the audience to the stage. Some people find joy in watching life unfold without actively diving into it. It's not laziness, and it's not fear, at least not in the way most people think. There's something subtle, introspective, almost quietly rebellious about it. Today, we're going to explore the psychology of people who prefer watching life instead of participating, and why their choice says more about their minds than you might expect. The first type is what I like to call the observer analyst. Imagine someone at a dinner party, quietly nursing their drink, noticing who laughs at whose jokes, who's nervous, who's confident. They're absorbing every detail, cataloging behaviors like a mental spreadsheet. For them, life is data. Social interactions are puzzles to decode, and jumping in might ruin the experiment. Psychologically, these individuals are highly aware and curious about human behavior. Their brains thrive on patterns, and sometimes being in the game feels like losing clarity. They might seem distant or aloof, but in reality, they're deeply engaged, just in their own analytical way. Maybe it's you noticing the way people touch their faces when they lie. Maybe it's someone you know silently rating every handshake. Then there's the quiet dreamer. You know the type. Sitting in a cafe, staring out at the street, headphones in, a faint smile crossing their face. They're not disengaged. They're inside their own world, rich with imagination. Life is more fascinating from the outside because it allows them to overlay their inner stories on reality. Psychologists would say this is a blend of high introversion and vivid imagination. They might skip parties, avoid small talk, or drift from social gatherings, not because they dislike people, but because their inner life is so absorbing that reality itself becomes a canvas for observation. If you catch yourself people-watching instead of joining in, you might be tapping into this same quiet, reflective mindset. Next is the cautious integrator. This one shows up in new workplaces, social circles, or even hobby groups. At first, they hang back, listening, watching how things work. Who takes the lead? Who's reliable? Who bends the rules? They prefer to understand the social landscape before acting. It's a survival strategy, not a flaw. Psychologically, it stems from a combination of sensitivity to social dynamics and the desire to avoid unnecessary conflict. The world can be unpredictable, and some minds calculate risk before participation. If you're the type who observes team dynamics for weeks before contributing ideas, or silently notes patterns in your friend group, you're a cautious integrator in action. But here's the twist. Some people are performance avoiders, and this one often gets misread. Unlike the observer analyst or dreamer, they aren't just quietly curious, they actively avoid the spotlight. Not because they're anxious about people judging them, necessarily, but because stepping in feels pointless. They perceive life as a series of fleeting performances, and the audience spot, paradoxically, feels safer and more satisfying than the stage. Research in behavioral psychology calls this strategic withdrawal, choosing observation over participation when the social payoff doesn't outweigh the mental cost. If you've ever found yourself thinking, "Why bother?" while everyone else rushes to impress, you might relate to this quietly contrarian mindset. Finally, there's the aesthetic witness. This type treats life as art. Every movement, interaction, and gesture is a brushstroke in a living painting. They linger on details that others miss, a fleeting expression, the rhythm of someone walking, the way shadows fall at dusk. Psychologically, they're drawn to subtlety and beauty, and participation can feel like disrupting the composition. Their world is observational because they value meaning over action. Maybe it's you lingering at a gallery, noticing the small details everyone else overlooks. Or maybe it's someone you know who collects moments rather than experiences. So why do these behaviors matter? Why prefer watching life instead of jumping in? It all comes down to how different minds process reality, emotion, and social dynamics. For some, observation is richer than participation. For others, it's a strategy, a form of introspection, or a way to find beauty in the unnoticed. And here's the real kicker. Watching doesn't mean missing out. Sometimes it's the people in the shadows who see life most clearly, who notice what everyone else glosses over, and who understand the rhythms of human behavior with astonishing depth. Now I want to ask you, which type do you recognize in yourself? Are you the analytical observer, the quiet dreamer, the cautious integrator, the performance avoider, or the aesthetic witness? Or maybe a little bit of each? Take a moment to think about it.
The next time you find yourself standing on the edge, quietly watching life unfold, remember, there's psychology behind your choice, and it might just be one of your greatest strengths.
If this insight resonated with you, consider subscribing. We explore the hidden quirks of human behavior, quiet traits, and subtle patterns in modern life every week. And who knows, you might learn a thing or two about yourself while watching from the edge.